Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and back in August, I found myself in Florence, Italy, truly one of the most beautiful places in Europe. I was on a search for evidence of lost ancient civilizations as I've been compiling evidence for quite some time in places like Turkey, Spain, Greece, Italy, and of course, Mauritania, Africa, home of the Richat structure, which I visited in my documentary Atlantis in the Desert back in May. I'm still sitting on countless reports from all over the world, but I wanted to finally bring you this short video on something interesting I found in Florence, Italy. I want to first note that what I found has been available to people for many hundreds of years. I just found something that no one else had yet mentioned. Thousands of years ago, Plato spoke of a great lost civilization he called Atlantis. It was a large circular island structure in concentric rings. According to Plato, the information was handed down to his ancestor Solon during Solon's trip to Sais, Egypt. An elder in Sais told him about a lost land that fell into the sea, destroyed in a day and night of misfortune. This civilization was advanced. The seeds of humanity were passed on down the Nile, Egypt being a settlement of the original Atlantean civilization. Interestingly, some years ago, archaeologists discovered the Edfu building texts, which spoke of the exact same story as Atlantis, instead calling it the homeland of the primeval ones. As the text said, the civilization was upon an island in an ocean, destroyed by flood and fire. The survivors sailed following the cataclysm. They showed up in Egypt to rebuild what they had lost, and I quote, "the resurrection of the former world of the gods, the recreation of a destroyed world." There's evidence that the Edfu building texts were copied from documents lost in the burning of the Library of Alexandria, one of the greatest losses of recorded history in recorded history. We will go further into the Edfu building texts in a future video as we revisit the Richat structure in Mauritania, considered the most likely site of the lost city of Atlantis. But let's consider this notion of a cataclysm. We now know that basically every single ancient civilization in the world spoke of a great flood that ravaged the world, with survivors like in Noah's Ark, the epics of Gilgamesh, the Vishnu flood story, the Hopi flood story, the Mayan, Aztec, Inca, and Olmec flood stories, and over 600 other similar stories finding their way upon a mountain, settling the surrounding areas, whether that be in Turkey near Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe, or whether that be along the Nile or in the Americas in the Andes. When you date the flood, almost all of these remarkably well-connected stories date back to around the same epoch, around the time of the Younger Dryas period, which in the past 15 years has been proven to have occurred 12,000 years ago. A period of extreme cataclysm, a period around which the recently discovered Hiawatha crater in Greenland was said to have formed. Around the same period that 75% of all mammals in North America were wiped out. Around the period, recent studies examining the water erosion around the Egyptian Sphinx's enclosure puts the age of the Sphinx itself, something that mainstream academics pass off to suit their confirmation bias and stubborn, outdated history teachings. The Younger Dryas came to a head at the time of the building of Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe in Turkey, perfectly fitting the estimated dating of the Noah's Ark story. Of course, Göbekli Tepe completely threw the mainstream dating of ancient civilizations in the air. Until the discovery of Göbekli Tepe, mainstream academics considered 3000 BC to be the earliest date for the first examples of ancient civilizations. Of course, Göbekli Tepe triumphs over the 7,000 year younger Stonehenge in size and scope, 95% still being underground. We also recently visited a little-known site called Karahan Tepe, which is considered larger than Göbekli Tepe near the Syrian border. You can see our documentary on Karahan Tepe on our channel in our Ancient Civilizations playlist. Anyways, this epoch also fits the dating of the story of Atlantis. As YouTuber Bright Insight has done an excellent job of examining, the Richat structure in Mauritania nearly perfectly fits the description of the size, scale, and even location of Atlantis, and we now know that the now deadly Sahara Desert was once lush with foliage and was split by many massive ancient rivers. It was also blasted by water, and much of the desert has lifted from its original elevation. We will spare you all of the details, but we went to Mauritania in May as basically everyone else was afraid to go. We traveled through minefields, hitchhiked, blew a tire in the middle of the Sahara, and nearly went stark raving crazy getting to the site. While our analysis told us that bedrock was jutting out of the surface and the rings themselves appeared to be naturally formed, our short period of time at the structure was hardly enough to give any definitive answers on how the rings may have been utilized. There are so many things we still need to investigate at the site, and we plan to release several videos shortly on the site, as well as return for more investigation. Anyways, the site is by the Atlantic Ocean or Sea of Atlas. It's near the Atlas Mountains. It's in Mauritania, land of King Atlas. Atlantis means island of Atlas. The Richat is 3 concentric rings. There are mountains to the north with ancient rivers flowing down the side as Plato described. And from the sky, it looks like a giant eye of Horus, which is interesting as there is a strange cult in Mauritania surrounding eyes, which many people wear on necklaces in the region. There's also cave drawings of many animals that are not known to have existed in the godforsaken area for over 10,000 years. The site is also close to an area in Mali where the Dogon people live, the Dogon people having the closest culture and language to the ancient Egyptians, said to be Atlanteans. Anyways, now that I've described in short all of the previous details for those of you who are not yet aware of the background story, I was recently in Florence, Italy, and my girlfriend really wanted to see the Galileo Museum as it contained books handwritten by DaVinci. First thing you notice outside is a tall astrologically aligned dial. This is not surprising as it is the Museum of Galileo after all. I went in and found myself playing around with old clocks, telescopes, and longitudinal Earth models. I thought I'd seen everything until I noticed a staircase down to the basement. We went down the stairs and walked around the corner to find an empty room with a few displays. In one of the displays I saw a map. It was one of the original Ptolemy maps. Now, the Ptolemy world map is quite famous, but there are many, many versions of it. I couldn't help but notice on this version that right by where the Richat structure is, it said Atlanticum. When looking up Atlanticum, I couldn't make sense of it. The only thing I could find was Pyrosoma atlanticum, which is a form of pelagic marine species of colonial tunicate in the class Thalassea, found in temperate waters worldwide, according to Wikipedia. Pelagic meaning in Greek open seas. It's not really found around Mauritania or Morocco. It's mostly found in the Indian Ocean. I was also able to find flowers called Rhododendron atlanticum, which most certainly do not grow around the Sahara Desert. I could not find proper reference. I mean, technically speaking, it could mean Atlas Mountains, but it's out of place for the Atlas Mountains. It's also in an area that is close to the rivers that once, in a far-off epoch, ran close to the Richat. Interestingly, many ancient maps were copies of previous ancient maps that were rewritten to preserve their memory. We've seen evidence of that, for example, with the Piri-Reis map, which has had historians scratching their heads for many decades. Unfortunately, the lighting in the museum was terrible, and the glass was just far enough away that I couldn't focus properly on the map where it says Atlanticum. You can just barely make it out, but I found many other versions of the map online. You can see some of them here on the screen. Near the map, I saw many depictions of great floods, cataclysms, and drawings by DaVinci, which focus on cataclysm of some kind. Of course, DaVinci was fascinated with cataclysm and the origins of humanity, so I thought that was an interesting place to find such a map. I immediately emailed Jimmy from Bright Insight about what I had found. While this was far from one of my greatest findings, considering especially what I found on the ground in southern Turkey recently at Karahan Tepe, what I found in the underground city of Derinkuyu in Turkey, or what I had found at the Richat structure in Mauritania, or the Hellenikon pyramid in Greece, it was something I figured was worth bringing to everyone's attention. I haven't seen anyone else do videos on this thus far. I'm sitting on countless videos still here at WAM from the Vatican, Göbekli Tepe, Haran, Derinkuyu, and even Mauritania still. Currently, I'm on a schedule where I basically have to get a video up every single day or I go broke. So if you want to help support WAM so we can bring you countless video reports, documentaries, and stories from the strangest of places, we really appreciate your help. We've still got a good 14 videos that we're sitting on that we can't afford to spend time on right now as we work to get news stories up every day. You can find our Patreon, Subscribestar, and GoFundMe below, as well as our float.app account, where we post more than any other social media, as YouTube has been cracking down on our channel, making it impossible to bring you the quality of videos we know you all deserve. On December 10th, YouTube changes its terms of services, and we can expect millions of channels to be either demonetized or downright deleted. It's a scary time for YouTube creators, so anything you can do to help will really change everything and help us continue to bring you the stories you want. Anyways, what do you think of the Ptolemy map and the word Atlanticum? Let us know below in the comments. Make sure to press like and share, and we'll see you next time. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here at WAM, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We cannot do it without you guys. Every donation is extremely, extremely appreciated as we're getting incredibly shadow banned. We've lost 80% of our audience since January of 2019 and counting. They are ripping us apart here on YouTube, and the only thing we could do in the meantime as we prepare for the next big step is to ask for help from the viewers that support our free information that we try to post on a daily basis. You can also find us on Subscribestar, where just $1 a month, that's all it takes, $1 a month is all it takes to truly make a huge difference. If everyone gave $1 a month, it would change everything for independent media, and we could win this information war, and we can defeat the mainstream medias eventually. And of course, on Subscribestar, we post subscriber-only content that you'll only see on Subscribestar. So make sure to pledge there, become a Patreon. That makes a huge difference, guys. And also, don't forget to check out our Bitcoin address below in the comments and description, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on the alternatives. We will likely be deleted by YouTube in the next 2 years. It's already happening on a vast scale, so make sure to find us on float.app. That's flote.app. at Josh Sigurdson, as well as at WAM, W-A-M. Float.app is replacing every social media, and I mean, it's just incredible the opportunities it provides for not just creators, but for the average person who wants to get away from these nannies telling them what they can or cannot see. They plan to replace Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon. You could subscribe to us on Float and pledge with cryptocurrency. It's really innovative. We are also on BitChute at World Alternative Media, as well as so many others, Minds, PocketNet. You can find us at World Alternative Media on Instagram. There's many options. And finally, don't forget to join us at Anarchapulco 2020, the famous event, the best Liberty event known to mankind, other than perhaps Anarcho Vegas 2020. There are two major events coming up that we are extremely excited about, and you can use promo code WHAM, that's W-A-M, and save 10% on your tickets to these legendary conferences. There's so many amazing people speaking there. You won't want to miss it. So make sure to support in any way you can, even if it's just sharing our videos, pressing like, pressing to be notified. Anything helps, folks. You are the change you wish to see. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.
Bye.